We now return to your infinite possibilities on DZRJ 810 AM, the voice of the Philippines. Here's your host, Francine de las Alas.
Hello, good afternoon, and this is Francine de las Alas with your infinite possibilities, where we piece together the genuine blocks of all, the building blocks of our genuine happiness and the life that we want. And so now the challenge here is that: are you one of the happy 100 people that Marcy Shimoff interviewed, or do you share the same pattern with victors, rather, or do you share the same pattern with victims? And she said that our happiness robbers are the common happiness robbers actually are complaining, blaming, and feeling shamed. And she said that among this 100, the pattern that she discovered in the Happy 100 is that to empower, they usually go for overcoming their old patterns. They empower themselves and they take responsibility for their own happiness in their lives. So one of that is focusing on the solution. And she said that, worrying is like, being on a rocking chair. It takes a lot of energy, but we never get anywhere. And she said, and imagine taking that same energy and applying it to solving the problems, using your creativity, intelligence, and imagination to see possibilities instead. So if you do that exercise now, if you start observing the concerns that you most commonly complained about, and if you stop complaining about them, what would it feel like? Which one would make you feel happier, being a no complainer or being a complainer? So of course, during the first time that you try this exercise, it's going to feel like there's a lump in your a heavy load on your chest, a lump in your throat. It's like it's gonna grip your soul because you're so used to complaining. But then again, as I said, one of the things that you can do is come up instead with a counter thought. So if it's traffic, you just say, before you leave the house, psych yourself up already for experiencing a lo and behold traffic-free road, and try to leave early. Also, try to help yourself, and so that when you're there, you're more relaxed in your driving, and the complaints are less. And if you do find yourself complaining, think of the next thought. Let's say if it's if it's unfortunate that it was traffic, and regardless of whether you have psyched yourself up for a lo and behold traffic-free road, think of the other thoughts that one of the things that I try to do is that the road is going to open for me, or this car is going to move to the left and to the right, and it's just just going to keep opening more lanes for me that I can switch to and get me to my destination faster. So it's just like that. It's an exercise, and or have another counter thought. Think of, let's say, if your life were different now, if you're wealthier, if you're richer, if you were more glamorous, if you were more famous, what would your life be like? So think of that thought. Try to divert that attention to a happier images, or to happier thoughts, so that it can influence how you feel also. So that's one of the tips that I can give you when you are starting a no complaints day. So counter switching, and also helping yourself prepare for that time, or for that moment, or whatever or for that endeavor. So anyways, she said that of course you will feel happier if you learn to acquire the no complaints habit. And there's no contest, according to her. And she said that victors focus on solution, while victims complain about problems. And so I'm no different from all of you, and even those CEOs are no different from us. Like that those top executives of the top 500 Fortune companies, they also make a lot of excuses. They also have even if they're richer, even if they're wealthier, even if they're living their dream life, their happiness level is just the same. So we're all starting from the same page, the same point, and if that's the case, you can start focusing on how am I gonna be a victor, how am I gonna be a winner in this situation or in my life, in my daily life. And Miss Mercado once said a long time ago that it is an effort to be happy. Unfortunately, it is, but as I said, your habits can be overturned. You can change that. So if you've decided not to complain today and to acquire a new habit of being a more relaxed person, a person who sees beauty out of every situation, then I would encourage you to go that way. And I'm already telling you that it's not gonna be easy during the first time, but it gets easier each time, and it gets more fun actually, because as you will also discover when you are about to complain and you arrest, you catch yourself just before that complaint, that grip, and that the next image that comes to mind can be, your bubble thought can actually be very funny, and you might find yourself laughing even harder than before you were than during the time that you were still the complainer or the whiner. So try to do that exercise. And in the book of Marcy Shimoff, she actually interviewed 20 people that out of the happy 100 people. And one of the stories she actually shared is a story of Ariel. She is a nurse, and one time she came home she came home, and her eyes were so irritated that she stopped at the corner drugstore to buy herself an eye drop. And immediately after she got home, she put the eye drops in her eyes, and immediately after it stung. And before she knew it, she was being rushed to the emergency room. It turned out that the eye drop that she bought was tampered, and it was laced with lye. And it only took it was just a matter of minutes before she became blind. And we have one of the caller who similarly shared the same condition. He's also blind, but the interesting common thing between Ariel and one of her caller, Bien, is that how they manage to turn their outlook towards a more positive mindset. And it was only from then that Bien was also able to enjoy the life that he has now, to explore. Now he's actually a techie. And similarly with Ariel, it's the same thing. It took her a year actually that she was wallowing in self-pity. And one day, as she lay in bed, she asked herself the question, what is the quality of my life? And she was wallowing in misery, slipping further each day into a dark hole inside of her that was far worse than the absence of sight. And as I said, wallowing, worrying, feeling inadequate, it's a bottomless pit. It's a bottomless pit. When you think of an issue, another issue will come, and then that issue will give birth to more issues. It never ends. Unlike when you focus on happier thought, it just automatically stops. And the best thing about it is that it influences the minute that you focus on a better thought, on a better thought. It influences the way you feel. It influences the way you take action, and it influences even the development of your habit. So similarly with Ariel, it's the same thing. She was just slipping further and further away into a dark hole that was, as she said, far worse than losing her sight. So she projected out for the next 20, 30, 40 years in your life, and she asked herself, is this what you want? And I always ask myself that question. After that devastating event that happened in my life, in my relationship, I've had my share of toxic thoughts. I'm still dealing with some of the remaining self-esteem issues, and not really regret or wishing. And when I think of when I ask myself, but is this for the next 20 years? Is this the life that I want to have? A life where I have a partner that I can't trust, where I have a partner who causes my instability and my downfall. And every time I ask that question, the answer is always no. So and then the next thing that I ask myself, so what do I want to do now? So I'm still alive. I can't be, as I said, walking dead. I can't be walking dead every day. So it's the same for you guys. Whatever is your situation, project into the next 20, 30 years of your life and ask yourself what kind of if that is the kind of life that you want to live. Are you comfortable with that? Are you happy with that? And you know what, your spirit will always tell you, will always say no, that is not the life that you want. So Ariel was the same thing, and after asking her that, after she asked that question, her spirit rebelled, and she said no, that's exactly what I'm saying. Your soul will always know where it doesn't want to be. It will always tell you what it will always tell you. It is always it's like your GPS, as Marcy said. It will always tell you that where the kind of life that brings in happiness, whether it's clear to you or not. You just know that every time you picture the life that you want, it evokes a certain sense of peace and happiness. So follow that. So for the first, so as in the case of Ariel, for the first time in months, instead of complaining to herself about what had happened to her, she decided to have a purpose. Same with Bien. It was one of, I remember the story of Ben. He decided to redirect, to look for a purpose in his life, and that's the same thing that you can do for yourself. I will share the story again, but I will just have to cut it here for now because we have to go on break. But I'll be right back with you to tell you more about Ariel's story and what she has done, and to also share with you the story of Bien, one of our callers here, who's now actually, even if he's in that condition, he's actually living his life way better and much more purposefully now. All right, so I'll be right back with you after this break.